Hi guys, and welcome to your lesson today on units of measurement of time. So we're going to be talking about different ways that we can measure time. So if you're thinking about how long you might want to describe how things or how long things take, you might be thinking about, does it take seconds? Is it something that's really quick, like snapping my finger, 1 second, or maybe even less? Or is it something that takes a little bit longer? Is it something that takes a minute to do? Like maybe to make your lunch choice in the morning takes you 1 minute. Or is it something that takes even longer, like an hour? So is it something like a TV show or a board game or something that you could measure in longer units of time? So we know we have those three. We have seconds, we have minutes, we have hours that we can use to describe how long it takes something to be done. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today, because that's old news, you already know seconds, minutes, and hours, right? But what we're going to talk about today is when you convert or change between hours, minutes, and seconds. So sometimes you might be talking about how long something takes, like washing your hands. It might take you a few seconds to do the soap. It might take you a few seconds to do your washing on both hands. It might take you a few seconds to do the rinsing in the water. And if you put all that together, then now you're talking about minutes. So there are times when you want to change from whether you're talking about seconds to minutes to even longer to hours. So we're going to be looking at conversions for that. And I have my screen ready to go. This is page 49 in your math journal. So if you can't see things clearly on my board, that's okay, because you have a copy of it too in your workbook. It's on page 49. So if you want to pause me and take out page 49 so you can see a little bit more clearer, that would be a great idea. But this chart is very similar to ones that we have seen before in our workbooks when we were talking about inches to feet to yards. It's the same kind of idea. So across the top, I see I've got a number line that starts small and goes from 0 all the way up to 10. I see my label here is minutes at the top. So my first scale, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 10, is talking about minutes. And then underneath that, I'm comparing it to seconds. So I've got minutes on the top and seconds on the bottom. So I can use this just like I used it before with my measurements of inches. If I go to 1 minute, it tells me there are 60 seconds. So I know for every 1 minute, I'll do my shorthand abbreviation over here, for every 1 minute, that is equal to 60 seconds. So just like multiplication, if I'm talking about multiples counting by 60s, I know there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So if I add another 60, 60 plus 60, let's see, that's easy if I know my doubles. 6 plus 6 is 12. Add my 0 back on the end, 120. So 2 minutes would be the same as 120 seconds. I can count by 60s, and I could also use this chart or graph to help me to see it on a line, on like a ruler. I can see it out two-dimensional, okay? So if I want to know how many seconds are in 6 minutes, I could count 6 groups of 60, or I could just go here to the 6 and see that that lines up 30 or 360 seconds, which I also know 6 times 6 is 36, and I add the 0 on the end. So if you know your math facts, this is going to be super easy for you, okay? So we can do that. We can convert between minutes and seconds. Then my bottom one down here, I've got hours and minutes. And I know if I look at my chart, I see for every 1 hour, I have 60 minutes. So I know the same thing. I'm going to be counting by 60 again because it takes 60 minutes to make 1 hour. But I noticed something different about this chart. If you have it in front of you, do you see how this line looks different than the top line? What do you notice that's different about that bottom one? I see 60, 120, 180, just like up here. But what do you see in between there? Do you see there's another tick mark in between 60 and 120? There's something in the middle there. Well, just like on our rulers when we're measuring to ½ an inch, there's a half point line in the middle. Well, I see that in the middle here, halfway between 5 hours and 6 hours, I see a mark there. So now if I want to know 5½ hours, how many minutes would that be? I would look in between 5 and 6. This would be 5½ and now I know how many minutes, 330. Okay, so you could solve it out by counting groups of 60 or half groups of 60 if you're trying to add a half an hour, or you could use this chart to see as well. So your job, now that you've had this chart in front of you and you've seen it a little bit, you're going to do some conversions. So down here you have some tables to fill out, and mine got cut off, but don't worry, you're page 49, you'll be able to see all of it. You're going to be filling in the rest of this chart. So I know 1 hour is, let's see, 1 hour, oops, that's minutes, I don't want to start there. 1 hour, here's my hour, is equal to 60 minutes. So in my chart, I'm going to fill out 60. Then I'm going to keep going for the next one. So 2 hours, 60 plus 60, we just talked about that. Or I can use my chart, 2 hours is equal to 120 minutes. So you may use whichever method you like better. You can count by 60s, or you can use this chart to help you. But I want you to fill in the tables on the rest of the page.